Hello, it's Dave here and I'm with my wife Cathy.
Hello.
And we are with a very special guest, our Marvel correspondent and sometimes podcaster. I think he's got his own podcast as well. Scroobius Pip.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. I'm excited.
I mean, you are primarily known for reviewing Marvel movies on the Cinemile, but I think you've got your own little thing on the side.
I've got my own. I've spawned my own podcast from my appearance on the Cinemile. But yeah, and I'm excited to come back.
Pieces podcast.
Yes,
I forgot to actually say the name of it. I'm a bad host.
Indeed. And since then, I've had Fassbender on, who's obviously, as we'll all know, is a Marvel guy.
Yeah, he's Professor X. No, he's not. Oh my God! I just shut up my own Magneto.
So you messed up Magneto. Yeah, perfect. So yeah.
Oh wow!
It's exciting.
I forgot. Because you forget that those X-Men movies are linked in with these movies as well now.
No, they're separate.
Right.
So that's the
But there's
whole
potential to link them in
But now
down the
Spider-Man.
line now, isn't there?
Well, Disney are buying 20th Century Fox, aren't
Yeah.
they? So that might happen down the line.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've kicked off the podcast with the boring
Very interesting.
studio chat. Welcome back to studio chat.
Last time we had Scroobius Pip on was a Marvel Spider-Man movie, so this is relevant.
So that
Yes.
Sony had bought. I'm back to the studio
Yeah.
chat. So it's a Sony property. Marvel brought him back in. Anyway,
But
the
more
Avengers is happening.
But more importantly, it was the one superhero movie that Cathy enjoyed. So I feel I'm good luck for Marvel movies for the cinema.
You're
so
our Marvel good luck charm.
I think
hoping.
that what happened there is usually generally I like any of the standalone origin movies.
Yeah.
And that actually includes, I didn't review it on this podcast because David gone with a friend, but I went separately to see Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I really liked Black Panther.
It's great fun, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought it was like an amazing cast. I loved the setting and I really enjoyed the writing.
Yeah.
And visually it was incredible. So I loved Black Panther. But it's the movies that aren't standalone that I tend to not enjoy. And given this is a 10-year accumulation of all of them, I'm very concerned about
I mean,
how well
there's huge pressure on it, isn't it? Like I remember, I think it was Kevin Smith saying at one point that nothing like this has ever happened in film. There's never been a collection of films that are all tied in, that span in 10 years or whatever, and then all coming together and continuing on. The closest you've got is Bond or something like that kind of continues on, but
it's a long
there's
running
nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So it is this kind of crazy, exciting time, and I tend to love all of them.
I'm like itching with excitement. I'm thinking back to like 2012. Do you remember when we were about to see the Avengers?
Yeah.
And it was like this. It was exactly the same deal. We'd seen all their standalone movies and we were going to see them together, and nothing had been done like that, and it was just like exciting. And I remember I got a little too excited, so much that the movie kind of disappointed me. And then a few days later, I sort of got over that and realised it was just a movie, and then I watched it 40 times again.
And Dave is subsequently, including on this podcast, rewatched all of the movies, and it took him a whole weekend to do a marathon of them. And that was before at least 3 or 4 have been released since then. You couldn't even do it in a weekend now, could you? There's so many of them.
There's 18 or 19?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk theories. I've got a theory.
Yeah.
That Thanos is like a bluff, because everyone knows, all the fans think that Thanos is boring. That's what people are saying. Thanos is boring villain.
Yeah.
I think Marvel and the Russo brothers have listened to this, and they're going to dispatch with him, and the trailers are showing us a movie that we're not going to get. And I think
that's interesting.
And I think that's the spoiler that they're referencing when they wrote that big letter, Thanos demands silence, and all that stuff. So that's my bold theory, which I discussed over email with one of our listeners, Ningers, and he has seen it, and I think he pretty much laughed in my face.
Right.
So I'm guessing that's incorrect.
I mean, it would be very Marvel to, because a thing that some people have against a lot of these is they say it's the same film over and over again on a lot of these individual ones when they come together. Yeah. But in a quite a literal sense, if they were to make this big one that we've all been waiting for, and once again make Loki the baddie, who's been the baddie in about 10 of the 18 or so films there's been, then that might kill me. So you saying that might be the only thing that saves it. If that was to happen, the fact that I know that you've got that joy of predicting it would the only thing that saves me there.
It's pretty bold. It's a hot take.
He's never a real bad either. It's like, oh, Loki, but then we kind of root for him. Like that's actually what I liked most about Black Panther was I thought it was the best Marvel villain we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like he was a villain. Well, first of all, Michael B. Jordan, I love him, but also he's a villain with genuine motivation, and like you understood where he was coming from. He had a real reason to be pissed off with these people, and there was a genuine tension there, as opposed to just I'm a baddie who wants to destroy Earth.
Well,
which
that's
is such
the thing.
a dramatic big baddie.
It's literally he's the cliched superhero villain, big purple alien who's chasing MacGuffin. He literally is chasing 6 MacGuffins that go into another MacGuffin. You know, it's not very interesting, and that doesn't really interest me. So prove me wrong, movie.
And who are you most excited about seeing? Because I really like Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm excited to see them, and I'm excited to see like Hulk and Ant-Man and all the little characters. Whereas like Iron Man, I'm like whatever, Captain America, whatever. I'm no interest in them.
Ant-Man is the most little character.
It's exactly that. It's the excitement of them crossing over. It's like I always wanted when there was an accident in the Bill, I wanted someone from Casualty to come and pick them up, and that would have been exciting enough. And this is a huge
dream big
cinema version of that, where it's like they get to come over and cross over. I am excited about Thanos though. As much as anything, I like him as a character in the books. I'm curious to see what seeds that they potentially sow because of this, if there is this Disney thing, because Deadpool was huge, or Thanos was huge in Deadpool, and Death, who's Thanos was in love with, was then in love with Deadpool, and the whole story.
Was in love with Deadpool?
No, Thanos was in love with Death, and Death was infatuated with Deadpool, and that's what kind of Thanos' origin story is why he went evil rather than good powerful, was because he had his heart broken by Death and therefore just wanted to kill everything in her name kind of thing.
That's an unexpected love triangle.
Yeah, it's a weird one, right? So, but there's exciting things there of elements that they could bring in or hint at or lead to.
So are you saying, Pip, that Ryan Reynolds is going to show up at the end of this movie and steal Thanos' girlfriend from him? It'd be under his nose.
I'll go for that pick. That's perfect.
And
right. How exciting would that be?
Zoe Saldana's mom, right? She's his daughter.
No. Oh, look, we're getting into nitty gritty.
Okay, right.
I think they're adopted. I don't think it's like bloodline, is it?
Also,
and it's confusing because Thanos is played by the guy who's playing Cable in Deadpool.
Yeah, in Deadpool.
So there is real confusion
Brolin.
here as to they could literally have had Ryan pop in for a day because they're literally friends and filming together. But yeah, I'm sure it won't happen. But
and we, thank you, Pip, for. So we're recording this Monday night. Now this movie's been out for days.
Yes.
And Pip waited all weekend to come and hang out with us on a Monday night and watch it. So we're so grateful.
We do really
that.
appreciate that.
I literally, it's how I found out that you can mute words and phrases on Twitter. So I've muted Avengers, Infinity, Wars. I'll probably keep that one muted because it's a nicer life.
It's a good one.
But yeah, just in general, it's been that thing of trying to just sitting down and trying to think of all the words that could be related.
Did you plug in every single character? That would have taken
Again, I didn't go for that, but yeah, in future I might have to. But yeah, it's exciting.
Hundreds of characters, and I think probably for me, what I'm interested to see most is how well they juggle that many characters and have it not just be that each one is essentially a cameo, because that's what I felt like with the last, was it the Captain America one where they were all together?
Civil War.
And this has way more characters than that, and I didn't like Civil War, so I know you disagreed.
All right, we better head in and watch this movie. Quick check-in, Pip, on your snack routine, because last time you came on, it was pretty intense. There was like hot dogs and popcorn.
I was tempted to eat before I met you guys, but because of my performance last time, I decided I had to hold off. So I will be once again hot dog, large drink, 3 scoop ice cream that I balance on top of the drink. I mean, we can recreate the photo from last time. It was beautiful.
Head to our socials at the cinema.
And then sweets. So I go all in. Particularly if it's a big film, I couldn't leave anyone out. Imagine if Captain America isn't in the isn't in Infinity Wars. I couldn't leave anyone out of my cinema eating collection.
What you're saying is your snacks are like a cinematic universe.
Yes, they
it's
really
like
are.
Scroobius Pip snack universe.
They've taken a long time to come together, and to break them up at this point is just it's troubling.
And they've each had their own sort of solo movies. Like it's you at home on the couch with some ice cream.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the standalone. Okay, right.
Okay, Dave, you're pulling this metaphor too far. Right, we'll be back in 5 hours?
Yeah, something like that. I just think it's definitely going to be freezing cold and dark when we're walking around this car park. All right, see you shortly.
Bye.
Bye.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Hello, we're back. We're walking around Staines car park at midnight by ourselves.
Again.
Yes. Luckily, Pip's really tall, so like no one's going to come near us and do anything rough because you'll scare them away.
Yeah, you got our backs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And wow.
Where to start?
There's so much
Blimey.
to process, isn't there? Will we just... Do we have anything to say before we go to Spoiler Street? Everyone's seen this movie by now, right?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
The thing that I was saying upstairs was about halfway through, I was struggling with the film a little bit just because it's all so huge. Mm-hmm. So it was hard to have much impact. It was, we've spent numerous years getting here, so it all has... Everything that happens is a massive thing that happens, so... There was a point where I was like, this is amazing stuff, but nothing's blowing me away. But then that did kind of build up, and
it's all third act.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly that.
It starts at a third act and just carries on.
Yeah.
So there is kind of it's an interesting pace. It's not. It doesn't really feel like a traditional film in many ways. It just felt like like you said, it felt like the end of a big 10-year build-up, big release. But I loved it. Did you?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I said by the end I was completely on board. Any concerns I had were comfortably gone.
Cathy?
Yeah, and I know I always hate these movies, and I was like assumed I would hate this one. I didn't want to hate it because I don't like going to the cinema and not enjoying a movie. But actually, of all the ensemble movies of this franchise, of which there are loads now that we've seen, this is definitely the most enjoyable I found one. And for once I actually didn't think it was too long and it was dragging, and I wasn't bored and I could follow everything. And what I had thought would happen with there being too many characters and none of them getting a look in, I didn't feel that. I enjoyed all the characters, and even though I don't really remember all the movies and I haven't stayed for all the end of credit scenes and everything like that, I could still follow it. So I thought it was really good, and I think it's quite a cinematic achievement to get all of this together and to make it be such a coherent movie, and to be genuinely exciting as well on top of that.
And particularly having seen that attempted and rushed and failed by DC. With numerous kind of collaboration type ones, you can see that it kind of, in many ways, those films are only going to have helped this because it makes you appreciate how hard it is to pull something like that off. It's interesting. It's good that this was one that Cathy enjoyed, because you were saying before how you generally enjoyed the origin ones, and this couldn't be more opposite to that. It's the complete. It's not origin at all yet, and there are certain bits that if you haven't seen this film, or as we were saying, if you haven't stuck around for 2 post-end credit screens on every film, there's bits you might not get or might not understand, but it still felt like it flowed fine regardless of that. They felt like bonus information rather than crucial information, which is cleverly done.
It's it's an incredible really. Juggling act.
Yeah.
I mean, not only have they. I mean, they, like you said, Cathy, they've achieved what we all thought was kind of impossible. We saw the posters, we saw the trailers. They're stuffed with characters. We've never seen a movie with 30 sort of primary characters before. And nobody really felt like they didn't get enough screen time. It was very deftly handled. They split everyone up accordingly.
And also, Iron Man didn't get too much screen time, which is what often happens, and that really annoys me because I don't know why he's always the star of the movies, because I find him really
because he was the first one and people like him.
Well, no, you're forgetting, or was the Hulk the first one?
I mean,
it was Iron Man.
Oh.
I'd argue it's partly because he's got the biggest contract as well, so get your money's worth. He's getting paid the most, so let's get him. Let's have some early call times for him and have him on set every day.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, I know it smashed all sorts of box office records all over the world, but like, how much money was spent? Like, Gwyneth Paltrow shows up in this. I thought she was done in these movies. Like, her alone, like, she would cost a lot of money, and she's in, like, you know, not to spoil, but very little of the movie.
But I wonder, is it pro rata? Do you get, like, you know, do you get, so say you get what's a year's worth of Gwyneth Paltrow is maybe 10 million, and then they like calculate she worked for 4 hours.
It would be interesting to see how things like that work, because when I'm now plugging my own podcast, when I had Florence Pugh on, she was doing this big film with The Rock, and one of the big scenes in that, they literally walked out at a live event and asked if a crowd would mind sticking around and doing them a favour. So you'd think, again, a Rock film, big budget, they're going to have loads of extras, but there is a lot that's done in that industry still on favours and asking stuff. So Paltrow, if she is in it for 10 minutes, they might have said, can you pop down on Wednesday?
Do you think
and
Disney
do us
were
a
like,
little quick?
Look, we're a bit hard up for
cash.
We spent it all on computer graphics.
Yeah, on a lot of graphics.
We can't pay you.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
I will say, just before we get to spoilers,
spoiler stains.
Spoiler stains. I said before we went in there that I wasn't really interested in Thanos. I didn't think anybody else was, but I'm completely sold on him now.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
Great villain. They really, really turned that round, and kudos to Josh Brolin.
But I think the best thing about Thanos was, well, they gave him decent motivation, which I wasn't expecting, but his CGI was amazing. Like, I remember him from a few movies ago looking really shit. I mean, and I thought in this movie he looked way better.
He did look better, yeah. But I guess that's the benefit of 10 years passing between the whole things. All right, I think we better just get into the.
I just need to say that before the movie started, we were getting all of our snacks. Obviously, Pip got the most, and Dave said, "I'm not getting a drink because I don't want to have to go to the toilet." That's how excited he was.
Good level
I really didn't, but I kind of feel like you'd miss, like, you could actually miss a crucial plot detail, because everyone was like suddenly they're here and everything moves pretty nippy.
But while we're on the snack statement, while you were in the toilet, Cathy, it was amusing because you saw me buy all the food, and then we had a spare seat there, and you asked if I wanted to pop my coat down, and I had to say, no, I've got more sweets in my pocket. so I'd brought some of my own sweets, as well as everything you saw me buy at the counter. I had some in my pockets.
I swear you've got some hidden down your sock.
I mean, you didn't get through even all those snacks in that 2.5 hour movie. We have to say we had a spare seat because Chris from Hardcore Listings was supposed to join us. Couldn't join us, so Chris, don't worry, we kept you a seat.
Sorry you couldn't make it, Chris. Yeah, we filled it with snacks and Cokes. All right, let's turn on to the spoiler section of the car park. It's Zone B for everyone's reference. So if you park there, you're going to get spoiled. Right, I think. Oh my God, I wrote down some words.
Jesus,
here just to remind me of what, because there's so much to say.
We should all go off, read the Wikipedia plot synopsis, and reconvene in 10 minutes.
Because that's it. It covers so much, and they get so much in there. And as you said, the pace is kind of relentless. It's not. It's not distractingly relentless. It is constant. Yeah.
But it still has. It still has quiet beats and big beats. Like it's well paced, and you get your little quieter moments with the characters.
But they were too quiet, right? Because obviously I don't know Pip that well, and I'm sitting next to him, and I'm like eating loads of popcorn. And then at the really quiet bits, I felt the need to just stop eating because I didn't want to be really rude. Whereas if I was just next to Dave, I would have completely disregarded him and just ate. You don't mind
being rude in front of me.
No.
But it was nice as well to see the comedy maintained through, because that's something I feel in some of the all coming together Avengers types one. That's one of the things that gets put turned aside a little bit because there's so much action to get in.
Yeah.
And in this, they kept it all in. And if anything, the comedy from Spider-Man and Guardians showed up how far the comedy has come along since Iron Man. Because Iron Man originally was he's so witty, he's so
and it was just
quippy.
him.
And he was reasonably funny in this, but nowhere near as funny as all of the Guardians and Peter Parker.
I will say...
And Thor was funny too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I was a little bit worried about that because you kind of end up with this same sort of Marvel archetype which they've used over and over again. So when the Doctor Strange movie happened, it was kind of like, oh, okay, he's a wisecracking, sarky, know-it-all genius. So I'm like, okay, that's just Tony Stark again. Chris Pratt is a wisecracky sort of sarky hero.
He's particularly endearing though, Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I know he's endearing, and there are subtle differences, but we're getting a lot of sort of wisecracky characters. And in Thor Ragnarok, he just became that character, which wasn't his character before. So I was a little bit sort of curious as to, is this just going to be loads of characters just back and forth quipping at each other? And it kind of was, but it also worked because they kind of, I mean, sort of Iron Man and Doctor Strange clashing was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And I think you
Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt, that was awesome.
That was
really
fantastic.
But they've got real good comedy sort of sidekicks to play off who all play different roles, like you said. So Spider-Man is the kid who's out of his element.
Yep.
Drax stole the show again.
Just brilliant.
He's always
awesome.
amazing.
Brilliant.
One of my favourite lines was Spider-Man just rescuing all the Guardians, and he's like, there you go, hey you. Sorry, I don't know everyone's names.
That was my favourite bit.
I can't remember everyone's like,
so I was literally just thinking, wait, who is everyone? I can't follow it.
Like, what a little... But that's what's so good about these movies, is that they have a nice level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And they don't really take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Loki died.
Yep. Again.
But did he though? I don't believe it.
Well, that's the problem. So
Loki's died at least 10 times already in these movies.
Yeah.
So the Marvel Cinematic Universe is famous for death not being a real thing, and everyone comes back to life always.
Yeah.
So they really kind of addressed that by killing everybody at the end, or half of everybody died.
Well, we're skipping too forward. I think we should talk more about the movie before we discuss the
Okay,
ending.
sorry.
To say about that ending. So
I'm all over the place.
I was going to jump in then.
Yeah, jump in. Right, we should let Pip talk now because he's our guest.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
No, Dave's just too excited.
I'm just
Dave,
I didn't make any notes. I'm relying on bouncing off your notes. So
we basically both at the end went, we have to write something down because, okay, I'll quickly go through my notes then because I actually don't really have that much to say compared to what you guys will as being the Marvel experts on the podcast. So in terms of visuals, right, really enjoyed Spider-Man's new legs. Thought they were awesome.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, my favourite thing about all these movies is Mark Ruffalo playing the Hulk, because I think that's such amazing casting.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed him turning in and out of the Hulk and never quite getting there. I thought that was quite fun.
That's great. Why do we think that was happening? Like, because the Hulk was scared because he got beaten by Thanos?
Because the first time he's met someone more powerful than him, it just pulled his arm off of him and things like that. And they wrote that and played that perfectly as a kind of, a man who's been emasculated. And a can't get it up type play was. It felt like that was the whole thing, because he's been emasculated by Thanos right at the start, and you have that constantly all the way through his nerves.
That was another great line. Come on, Bruce! You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards.
Oh yeah, that was really fun. I really enjoy that, and again, it's like it flowed. I'm really glad that I saw Thor this year or last year, whenever it was out, because I felt like it really flowed from Thor for those characters.
Yeah.
Side note completely on the actor's appearance, but did you notice that Paul Bettany, Don Cheadle and Robert Downey Jr. are all like emaciated in this movie?
Yeah, they all look quite ill, don't they?
They look like Paul Bettany, and we're not here to talk about people's appearances, but this was just a thread going through the movie that all
we're just worried
men
about
look
them.
very, very, very skinny.
We just hope they're okay, and that they're getting enough
I'm just
nourishment.
talking on little things at the moment. Okay, so Vision basically has Harry Potter's scar, and Thanos is Voldemort.
Oh.
Because
Bold
he's like,
statement.
my scar!
There's
And then it
fox
would
over
cut to, oh wow. And then it would cut to Thanos being naughty or whatever, and then cut back to Vision
Sorry,
rubbing his
sorry.
scar.
Thanos being naughty.
But you know what I mean?
Oh, no,
like,
yeah.
It was basically, the foxes. Oh no, okay.
Anyway.
Carry on.
And then basically that was what was going on there. Peter Dinklage played a giant dwarf, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that was strange.
So he referenced himself being a dwarf, but then he was a giant. And then where's Hawkeye?
On that note, I think that's lazy to just. Why does Peter Dinklage just get cast anytime there's a dwarf character now?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
No, but like there's
he was the actor who played Willow on all the dwarves.
There are
in the 90s.
so many little people. I think that's the correct, politically correct term. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And Peter Dinklage gets
actors
all the
out there.
Yeah,
but that's not fair.
It's like all women over 60 are played by Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
But also, Peter Dinklage was just doing his Game of Thrones voice, and it was annoying me because I hate the way he talks in that show.
Yeah, it felt like Dinklage was kind of there just as an extra. Oh, look, it's him.
Yeah.
And we had loads of them.
Yeah.
We had that with every character. We didn't need that with. It was fine. There was one bit when they had a back shot of him, and the way they had his hair, for some reason, it just made me laugh because it looked exactly like the little guy in Masters of the Universe, the film of Quildor in Masters of the Universe, and I looked and thought, wow, that's that. I don't know why that came to mind.
That's so funny you said that, because several times throughout this movie I was thinking of Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
The beginning when Thanos is on the Thor's ship and all of his minions gather around and he says, "Go to Earth and get me the thing."
Yeah.
And it was like, and they're all his henchmen, and I was just reminded of those little alien dudes from Masters of the Universe. One of them had like a huge like white power Tina Turner hairstyle.
Yep. Yes, definitely.
Like this, it was just that.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy you said that. Sorry, Cathy.
And it was the fact that they were kind of seemingly random characters. So not anyone I recognise from the comic book, which also happened in Masters of the Universe, that it's everyone, and then in the film they went, here's a random dude with Tina Turner hair. Like, oh right, so that's what you couldn't have chosen the thousands of baddies that you've got to choose from. No, here's a new one.
Your favourite kids.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it was like in this. Most of Thanos' team you didn't have a lot of investment with, because they were these kind of
they didn't really nail them. They were kind of fine. There was a sort of elvish woman who was kind of scary, but the standout for me was, and I looked up his name, Ebony Maw. He was the wizard.
Yeah, he was great.
As we found out, it was played by Tom Vaughan Lawler, who's an Irish actor from Love Hate.
He's an amazing Irish actor, and he's a really phenomenal actor of his generation kind of actor. And it's a real shame to be in such a big movie and to be completely unrecognisable. We would never have known that was him if we hadn't seen his name in the credits.
Yeah, but his voice really brought a lot to that performance, and I thought he was brilliant.
No, he was great. I just mean for the actor, you're not going to get recognition.
Yeah.
Well, we're recognising him right now.
Well, yeah.
Damn right. But definitely, he was the only one. He stood out completely of all the bad, of all the new bad guys, kind of thing. He was, he had just, it was scary. It was creepy.
I love the way
that can be your next binge watch. Pip, Love Hate is a very good Irish show.
I loved the way he just would wander around these planets, or whenever they were killing people, and he'd deliver this sort of speech, almost like a religious zealot,
and then just
well, I thought it was excellent. And when he was facing off against Doctor Strange, I like that again. The Russo brothers so good at mapping out fight scenes and pairing off everyone against each other correctly, so it's all balanced. Doctor Strange versus him in the wizarding world, and then you've got the big brute who's going to face off against the Hulk. It's all very balanced, and I mean the movie's all about balance. So
yeah.
Guys, I'm so excited.
They balance it
all
without
again.
making it feel like a formula of insert battle scene here, insert battle scene there. It really didn't feel like that actually. But one of the things that really did annoy me about the movie was, what always annoys me about Marvel movies is that the female characters are very sidelined, and there's far too few of them compared to in terms of we say there's probably about 40 protagonists.
Yeah.
It's probably 4 or 5 women, most of whom play a girlfriend or a daughter character. The only one who is neither of those is Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and she still is actually a girlfriend to Bruce Banner, but that's not her main thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that always kind of annoys me.
A little bit with the addition of Wakanda and the
really
warriors there, and that. So the big battle scene at the end was 3 strong women against 1 strong woman as one of the deciding kind of parts of it. So that was quite cool.
Said, she's not alone, we're here.
Yeah.
But what really annoyed me about the Wakanda battle is, first of all, it looked incredible, right? It was up there with Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones in terms of visually when they stormed the big dome thing. But what annoyed me was, so Vision is an AI butler, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Now all they have to do
It's
is
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so they say, so he's not a human being. Now, Dave and I always have this argument about whether, like, AI can have consciousness or whatever. We're so boring. He's not a human
AI
being.
can have consciousness.
And like, he's essentially in the body of a white man, right? And to
No, he's purple.
You know what I mean? No, Paul Bettany is white, and they show him having his little getaway in Glasgow, wherever he is. But then,
no, they were on the way to Glasgow.
To save him, who's not a human being, and who, if you kill him now, that's it. The movie ends. To save him, they have this giant battle where just like what we can gather is hundreds of thousands of Africans are just being killed.
We don't trade
nothing.
lives, Cathy.
But like for nothing. Like the whole, I was just watching it going, but why? I do not understand this at all, and the movie can't get away from that.
But have you ever have you ever thought you've had a hard drive die? Because that's one of the most deep emotional feelings I've ever had. So that's basically it. They're like, we can't lose.
And Elizabeth Olsen,
we'd have to reboot him.
And Elizabeth
Lost
Olsen
everything.
is the best thing in it. Like in terms of, I think Elizabeth Olsen is like very understated and very powerful actor, and I think honestly she's probably gives the most unique performance in the movie because everyone else is very big and she acts small, which makes her big. But there's lots of broken glass here. But that whole sequence annoyed me. It's just, you're just watching this wave and wave of bodies just being slaughtered for nothing.
Well,
and then all the Avengers are like, oh no, Vision! Like, don't pretend you cared about Vision. Until the last movie, he was nothing. He was literally a butler that went around in a robot body.
No, hang on though.
He's not one of the Avengers.
Think about it, right? The Infinity Stone had to go somewhere, and they were waiting as long as possible before they had to kill him. They tried to save his life,
but for no reason.
And then they did
kill
him. You got what you wanted.
So many other
got
people
Vision's
died
blood.
when Vision could have just died ages ago, and he was willing to do it. And he's not a person, so I wouldn't even call it dying.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway because Doctor Strange said there were 0 outcomes where they could have won.
No, he said there was one outcome.
There was one.
No, that was the line afterwards when he says to Tony before he fades into nothingness. He says there were no outcomes. He lied.
No, he said this is the only way. He didn't say there was no outcomes.
It's the only way, and I reckon that he saw all of this, and this is the one outcome that somehow ends with.
Well, he's probably like, to be fair to Thanos, his plan kind of makes sense in the sense that, like, if you do kill 50% of the world's population, the world will be better off.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I was kind of team Thanos on this.
It's the Watchmen. It's the story from the Watchmen. The big supervillain in that was the cleverest man in the world, and he was killing half of Earth to save Earth. So it was weird having that bit because that's a classic comic book, but a standalone, its own thing. But yeah, it is. I remember that when reading the Watchmen, getting to the end and going, yeah, kind of agree with the villain.
Kind of right. Yeah. Except his plan, spoilers for Watchmen, was to wipe out half the world with a giant prosthetic alien.
Yeah, that was quite weird.
Was made by Hollywood.
Yeah,
but not much different
anyway.
than this. So do we all think Thanos is better than what we'd expected in terms of they
Thanos
gave him motivation?
Was brilliant. I bought Thanos. I was like,
it was great. I think a few people are going to go in there and not like how human they made him because he'd been built up as this evil, destructive monster. But I said he had a human backstory in the comics. It's not exactly the same as that, but he was a powerful person who decided to kill because of love or because of being spurned. It's not just it's just the evil baddie.
But that's what we needed.
Yeah,
I almost
completely.
wish they seeded it in earlier.
Yeah, because we would have been in the other movies would have been more interesting if this had been the case sooner. But yeah, and like the stuff with him. Oh, we haven't even mentioned the fact that. Idris Elba was killed like in the first scene, so I had no emotional connection to his death, and I say that as Idris Elba being my favourite actor in the world. And then Zoe Saldana, I felt nothing when she died either.
Yeah,
well, there's just foxes everywhere.
I think that's the same fox. I think he's doing his own cinema.
He's doing his own podcast. He's rushing along to the spoiler section.
I mean, he's actually at the entrance of Spoiler Street. But did you have any emotional impact of Zoe Saldana dying at all?
That was
kind of.
It was quite weird because they saved the emotional reaction to that for Peter Quill. So I had my emotional reaction when he had his. When he found out it was this real, he's going to lose it and it's heartbreaking. Yeah. So I think it kind of worked to have it as quite throwaway in the moment.
Literally.
And then you have that impact when he has that impact.
Yeah.
When the impact is needed.
But then
and it's so frustrating, isn't it?
But then again, it becomes that thing of what they always say about in movies is that she died only to service his story.
Right, yeah.
She doesn't
Yeah,
die
that's
for
true.
her own story. She dies so that we can relate to Peter Quill at a later time.
Yeah.
Which is just, again, it just annoys me about the Marvel movies. And she died to serve her dad's plot. Like, in the end, she's such a feisty, strong character in Guardians of the Galaxy, and, like, she was amazing in this, and I wasn't sad when she died, but I did feel her loss in terms of, like, her character, because she's quite different as well. So I don't know what this means for the Guardians going forward. It's quite dark.
Or that's the thing, and if we're getting on to the big ending, where, as we were saying, half the people die, instantly, to me,
so good.
The slightly frustrating part for me is, in the next one, they have to undo all of that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, do an exact flip. Because all the people that died are all the ones that have new successful franchises.
Exactly. Like
Going on to the business side, a Black Panther, Spider-Man and Guardians
As if they're...
are the ones that are going to continue on. The ones that lived are Iron Man and Captain America. And the ones that franchises are towards the end of their thing. So it felt to me there's going to be an exact flip or switch of who lived and who died.
I think
this would be a good point for you, Pip, to explain to us the stinger, the end bit.
Yeah, so at the end we lose Samuel L. Jackson, Fury, but he sends a message and a little image comes up
On his pager.
On his pager, and he sent a message to Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, who is... Her film's coming up end of this year, is it? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
Larson.
Captain Marvel is a Scree, so she's an alien that is one of the most powerful type, and she's in general, she's whereas you'd previously have Thor is the most powerful, and then you'd kind of argue Hulk is the most powerful. Captain Marvel is
even more powerful,
a Captain America level or more, an alien. Captain America, I guess. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there.
So does she have the power to fix this?
That's a really confusing one, because I don't remember her having any power of turning back time.
Yeah.
But there was a real kind of, is the message going to go through type drama of it. So there is obviously some kind of...
I'll tell you who can turn back time. Cher, she can.
But also, so I know coming up this year is another Ant-Man movie. Like, what's going to happen in that movie?
July.
That was really confusing.
Yeah, so what's going to happen?
How are they going to do that?
Is he just going to be carrying on with his shenanigans?
No, he's just going to be like, yeah, so half the world disappeared, but let's carry on with our movie.
Yeah, that's the one genuinely confusing part, because they seem to lead towards Captain Marvel. So her story can be on another planet. It can be in space. It's got that Guardians get out clause of not having to address Earth. But I don't know how they do Ant-Man, because
he was in the last Captain America, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Civil War.
Yeah. So, and also, I had heard people mentioning before this that Hawkeye was never in the trailer, and then he wasn't in the movie either.
No.
So do we know what's up with him?
No.
Well, they kind of gave them lip service. They said they were at home.
Yeah, or they'd been hidden.
Oh, they're at home.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, because actually, remember they made this whole big thing about in the last movie about his wife and kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to be like, oh, and then what they should have done they should have done another end credit scene where we catch him at home and then all his kids die.
Oh God, Cathy,
merciless.
Oh yeah, half of them. No, it just would have been funny if they'd gone to all the effort of him staying safe, and then that's what happened.
But
anyway.
I'm wondering if we haven't seen the one reality where they survive.
That's what I thought, yeah. Because Doctor Strange said there was one.
There's one. So that could... Do you know what I mean? So he's... Yeah, if he's done his weird jump into all these worlds thing, for that one to exist, all the others obviously have to fail.
So we have to watch this movie 12 million more times. And then we finally get to see the one where they all live.
But yeah... I don't know. I've not thought that through in its entirety yet, because we're getting some multi-universe theory.
It's an easy get out of jail free card, isn't it? The alternate universe.
That was the only thing that disappointed me a little bit, because of who died in it. It made it feel, well, they're definitely not dead.
Not permanent.
Yeah. Whereas if they'd killed Stark or Captain America or one of them, you'd go, all right, well, that could be this time at this point in the franchise.
Yeah.
But
They're done,
because
aren't
they
they?
killed,
Conceptually.
because they killed all the new ones, it's like, oh, that's all right then. I'll find out how they. I look forward to seeing how they get around that.
Yeah, and even now that like Black Panther's ended up being, aside from this one, like the most successful one, even if he was supposed to die, they must be very quickly unwriting that because they can't do that. I mean, it's such a successful origin story. You know, bring Ant-Man in and kill him if you're going to kill any of them. Like, don't kill Black Panther. And we also haven't discussed yet, which was quite fun, and I would have loved to see more of it, was the Teenage Groot. That was so cute.
Great.
He was a lot of fun.
He was so good. And I like the little throwaway line from Thor, like, oh yes, I speak Groot. It was an elective.
Yes,
on Asgard.
I could watch a whole movie of the Guardians and Thor and Hulk. I would just love to watch that movie.
Yeah, they were great fun.
They really, like, the Guardians being in this, for me, really elevated it, because I'm so sick and bored of Captain America and Tony Stark and all of them. Like, I just find them tedious at this point, so this completely elevated it.
But that's what makes it so impressive, is they balanced all of that. So people who didn't enjoy Guardians and found it too quirky will still get loads from this because of the way Captain America is and all these. And again, it makes it all the more impressive because of the clear involvement of James Gunn and everyone else to all work together to make their individual franchises, I guess, shine but not outshine anyone else. And again, that's such a, as we've seen from Suicide Squad, from all these, from Justice League and all that, that's such a hard balance. That's such a hard thing to do, to serve the future story arcs and the past story arcs of all these different people and the tones and everything. It's
incredible. And like, to serve all of us, because like you two are on completely one side and I'm on another side of these movies, and we all enjoyed it, and we were all stunned at the end. Like, we sat in complete silence when the credits came off. We were like, huh?
What a ballsy ending.
And because normally these movies drag so much, and because it actually like clipped along quite nicely for me, I thought there was at least half an hour left in it. So I was like waiting for something else to happen, and then it was like, ooh, interesting.
But how good, like that? How good that they set that up? Like, he's just misunderstood. He just wanted to destroy half the universe and then watch a sunset
for the good of the universe and all that kind of thing. So
he's a hero.
And, you know, torture his other daughter and like tell her that she's no more than spare parts. But they had set that up in the other movie, that he kind of loathed her and loved Zoe Saldana, so I thought that was acceptable.
And that's what I thought was interesting with Zoe Saldana's story, was I agree with you on her story being Quill's subplot and Thanos's, but then at the end, when he goes and sees her as a child, it felt like there's more to come from that.
Sad, wasn't it?
So it was kind of, it felt it's not quite.
What was that?
Arc isn't done. That's what I didn't really know. It was. Was that in the past? Because they kept going back to the past for that, but. And
what does the Soul Stone do?
Who knows? The stones are ridiculous. The stones make no sense, and they really annoyed me. And his glove, where throughout the movie would add another stone to the stupid
but most
glove.
of them are pretty clear. Like,
the Soul Stone could be the one that gives us our "it was all a dream."
Are out.
Because at the moment he took that, he went into some dimensional thing, didn't he? And was looking out at stuff. So that could be when he asked her as a child, or she said, "Oh, was it worth it, or did it work, or whatever?" That could be a him living it and then having the chance to choose, or I don't know.
And he wakes up and it was all a dream.
And then we have a buddy movie of Thanos and Thor just on it in a flat share.
Chris Hemsworth could be in any movie and elevate it. Like, he's phenomenally cast in this movie. Like, it's unbelievable how good he is, and he's just so charming. And actually, in this movie, he wasn't overly quippy. Like, he was genuinely devastated about everything that had happened in his life, and he still brought cheer to the movie somehow.
But he had a lovely moment with Rocket Raccoon, who he kept calling Rabbit. When he just sort of, you thought he was playing it for comedy, where he kept saying, you know, oh, I've lost everyone. Oh, don't you have any friends? She was stabbed in the heart. But that actually, you know, there was a tear in his eye. Yeah. And it was quite. I thought he delivered that well. The movie had little moments of pathos, and I don't think, you know, you're never going to hit real raw emotion with a movie like this, because there's no time to really develop anyone, and it's not that kind of movie. But there's enough to skirting around the edges there to sort of keep you interested.
Peter Parker hugging Tony Stark at the end. That was a genuinely emotional bit when he seemed scared, and
He's just a kid.
it really revealed, exactly that. It reminded you this is a kid who's playing with the grown-ups. He's not really this.
Yeah, that was actually really sad.
Actually, on that note, the Spider-Man thing. So there's a definite plot hole here, and I haven't been on the internet in the last few days, but I'm sure people are all over this. So in Spider-Man Homecoming, which we saw with you, Pip, in this very car park nearly a year ago.
Through the window of the cinema.
There's the opening of that. Spoilers for that movie. I'm sure you've all seen it. The opening of that.
He becomes Spider-Man.
He is Spider-Man. The what's his name? Michael Keaton is cleaning up the mess from the Avengers.
Yeah.
From the first Avengers in 2012.
Yeah.
And then a title card flashes up and it says 8 years later. And then we cut to the movie. And now in this movie, which would put that around 2020. I do remember this because I watched it a few weeks ago. And then in this movie, Tony Stark says to Doctor Strange while they're on the ship, he says, for the last 6 years, I've been waiting for Thanos.
Yeah.
Since he attacked New York.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a mistake somewhere, right?
That's a good point, yeah.
What's the timeline here? And also, 6 years adds up to 2018, which is now.
I bet you've got the number wrong on the card.
No, it was 8 years later. I saw it recently. Oh. So there's a mistake.
Well, you should go on the internet and tweet about it.
Anyway, I've derailed the conversation with my nitpicking. Was there anything you guys didn't like about this movie?
No, I really enjoyed it. As said, other than the weight of expectation, I think, was the thing that took me a while to get into it. Because there was so much build, I was watching it just thinking, yeah, it's another Marvel film, this is cool, but you're so desensitized to it by now that it's just ticking the boxes. But then no, it did elevate. As soon as we had all the pieces on the board, then you could have all of the balance of your comedy, your action, your emotion, and all of it. I thought it worked amazing.
And I think I was just mainly admiring it for being like so technically proficient in terms of the script, the direction. Like at no point really, aside from like particular Chris Hemsworth and Elizabeth Olsen, aside from those two performances, everyone else's performance is really good. I'm not questioning any actors in this movie, but you don't watch it for, like, at this point you're not watching it even for any of them. It's like I was admiring the whole proficiency of it. I really, really think it's quite stunning what they've achieved. But at no point was I like really, emotionally invested in it, and I certainly wouldn't watch it again. But that being said, I think it's a really, really good movie for what it was. I think it's really good. I was impressed.
Was one issue I had, actually, I've remembered now. There was one, what I thought was a really poor bit of CGI. I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but at the end when Bruce Banner's, as people are fading away, and the ones who haven't faded there, and Banner's in his Hulkbuster suit, it looked ridiculous. It looked like they'd kind of just pasted him in there. Or
sorry, his head, you mean?
Yeah, his head in the suit.
I noticed it.
It looked really bad. It was just this
really
weird...
tiny and weird, didn't it? Yeah, I noticed that too.
Floaty head, and I was like, the things you've done in this film, and you can't do a basic bit of green screen here. This is just a bit of green screen. This is just place his head in there. That was quite strange.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny, like, right before it started, like, I really felt like, because I was in between you two, that you were, like, both holding your breath. And I just thought, I really hope they like it, because it'd be so sad if they don't. Because you waited too long, like, you would have... If you weren't going to like it, it would have been better to see it last week without reading all these, it's broken every record on the planet and everyone loves it.
I loved it so much.
But that's the beauty of it breaking the records is, I won't go into tons of detail, but I like mixed martial arts and wrestling and stuff like that. And if you get two really good people against each other, it'll do decent numbers. But if you spend a year or 2 years telling their story and building a feud and making them argue, it will break records.
Yeah.
And that's a positive thing here, because the thing that annoyed me with Suicide Squad, when that got the biggest box office of the year that year or whatever, was it was crap, but it had a really good trailer and amazing makeup and costume.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's sad that's what gets
Oscar
the records.
winning,
So it's nice. It's nice now that what breaks here is what is breaking the records is 10 years of building up a story and characters to go. And again, I'm not saying it's a masterpiece in any way. It's a great superhero film, but that was pleasing that it shows that you don't have to just go, let's just cut together a good a good trailer with good music,
Yeah.
and we'll get the box office. If you want to break all the records, you put the effort in, and that's what Marvel have done for a long time.
It really did.
And
it's
paid
the slow
off.
game, it's
Yeah.
the long game, and it's just so rewarding because you know all these people, and they're all familiar.
Yeah.
And
But it's interesting that, in my opinion, the other Avengers movies were kind of a mess and too actiony and I just didn't engage with any of them. Like, why is this the movie that's the big accumulation? Why couldn't the last one have been, or the one before? Is this the one that they were legitimately planning to be the be-all, end-all, or is it just a coincidence that this one's captured everyone's imagination?
it's because they ramped up. They started releasing 2 movies a year, then they started releasing 3 movies a year. Also, between Avengers movies, they've had Spider-Man, which is huge. They've Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy weren't in the Avengers. So suddenly it's all of those things coming together at the exact same time.
Yeah.
That's why this is exciting.
And then Black Panther right before this was really perfect timing as well.
And that's it. Big ones that are out of the mould.
Yeah.
So Captain America and Iron Man, Hulk were all in the same mould, but now bringing in Guardians, which was in a completely different mould, and Spider-Man, which was a different mould, and Black Panther, it brings a lot more of it together, I guess.
But that's the other thing. They shouldn't work. These characters shouldn't work together. They don't even make sense in the same plane of existence. Anyway, we've definitely prattled on long enough.
But actually, big thumbs up from all 3 of us, I think, which is pretty cool. So you'll have to come every time, and now I'll actually like Marvel
the good
movies.
luck Marvel
We really
films.
are.
That's
Well,
it.
I know I like Ant-Man next time, so I'm pretty primed for that one. And I assume I like Captain Marvel because I really like Brie Larson, and it's about time they had a female-led one of these movies. Like 20 movies in, they'll have it.
Yeah.
All right, Pip, thank you so much for driving all the way out to Staines once again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we
How
spent
far is it from Essex to Staines?
About an hour and 10, hour and 20. It's not
fair
too far.
play. Thank you. We do appreciate
almost
it.
1 a.m.
Is
And
it?
you have to
No.
drive back,
It's
yeah?
midnight. Yep,
quarter past midnight, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is
All
pretty
right.
hardcore for me, having a very small baby, I have to say.
Let's get home to our baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, we need to tell
Oh,
people where they
yeah.
can find Pip, just in case they don't know.
Yes. So I've got my Distraction Pieces podcast is on iTunes and Acast and everywhere else, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere as at Scroobius Pip. Easy to find.
And we're at the Cinemile.
On all the social medias. Actually, I'm going to take a picture of us now, right? Because I just
Oh, yeah.
don't think people realise quite how glamorous our lives are. Of the 3 of us in a car park.
Oh, we should have taken a picture of the
Pip,
fox.
you're going to have to. We should have taken a picture of the fox. My
And
phone
we've done
isn't good enough.
a lot of laps of that car park.
Pip, you're going to have to take a picture because
I've
you're
got the longest
much
arms.
taller than us.
So which way? Just let's get the car park in. I'll go sideways. How's that?
At the Cinemile.
At the Cinemile.
On Instagram.
It's
You can see
amazing
this marvel.
photo. Hashtag, God, I'm too tired. World's most boring photo.
All right.
Okay.
And the fact that we all pause mid-podcast to take that selfie, that gives
Yeah, we
them
do that a
time
lot.
to look up
Oh, God, yeah.
at the cinema.
It's
Audio
podcast
gold.
gold. All right, now I need to
All
order
right.
something for
We,
home.
half of us are just going to fade into nothingness
Yeah.
now. You decide. Let's put a Twitter poll up. All right. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.